Housing prices are going to crash hard because all the aging baby boomers are going to sell their homes, and boomers are the biggest generation in all of American history. This is going to magnify the price collapse. It all means far more home sellers than buyers. Sellers will have to keep cutting prices to compete, and everyone's property values are going to implode. Today, let's look at how bad it will get. Should you get ahead of it and sell now? I will answer it all. So settle in and watch this video until the end, because we'll look at some demographics together, and then I'll even tell you when this popular narrative will supposedly happen with boomers selling en masse. Or won't this whole thing happen at all? Hi, I'm Keith Weinhold, Get Rich Education founder, Forbes Real Estate Council member, best-selling author, and longtime real estate investor. The term silver tsunami, that actually refers to pent-up housing stock that older homeowners will eventually choose to sell, which would have the effect of flooding the market with a glut of new inventory. And baby boomers, they're the generation born just after World War II, between 1946 and 64. Well, that makes them between the ages of 61 and 79 today. My parents are baby boomers. President Trump is at the upper age limit for a boomer, by the way, and they're not all as old as you think. I mean, baby boomers include Michelle Obama, Sandra Bullock, and Rob Lowe. So not all boomers are super old, but see, it's a big generation of over 76 million people. So whatever they do really moves the economy. Now, a more nascent trend that you hear about more and more are boomers, and actually people older than boomers, wanting to age in place. That just means that they want to stay in their home and not go to a nursing home or assisted living facility. And that was recently quantified in a survey that found that 54% of baby boomers say that they will never sell their homes, some of them passing homes along as inheritance. And often that's because their home is paid off and assisted living care costs are through the roof. More than half of boomers, they don't have any mortgage. All right, so boomers, they're not as old as most people think, and a lot of them aren't selling, but still, let's look for trouble, because boomers are a huge group, and of course, some portion are going to sell as they age. How about the almost half of boomers with a mortgage? You know what? If they downsized like older people have traditionally done, I mean, my grandparents downsized long ago, but do you know what would happen if boomers downsized today? For most of them, their monthly mortgage payment would actually go up if they downsized. That's because of today's higher mortgage rates and home prices. It's a financial reality that keeps them in place, and they are never going to downsize. All right, so we've established that a lot of boomers are just not going to sell, but still, this wave of selling boomers crashing the housing market, you know, this has been like a popular narrative for probably over a decade now. So there must be more to this, and there is. In fact, people just age 55 plus own more than half of the homes in the United States right now. And now if we look at homeowners of all ages, people are staying in their homes longer, whether you're 30 or 50 or 80. They are now staying in the same home about 12 years, and that duration is twice as long as 2005. So what this means is that those homes don't come onto the market, and people can't buy what's not for sale. And the well-documented interest rate lock-in effect, that's a contributor too. People of all ages with 4% mortgages are reluctant to sell. All right, if demographics could crash the housing market, all right, let's step back and what's going on with the overall population today? Well, it just grew at its fastest rate since 2001. Note the growth rate on the left. It grew by about a full 1% last year. Yeah, we broke the 340 million population mark for the first time ever. Now, what if some of those people are immigrants and a substantial amount get deported? Is there then enough population growth to buy from the boomers that do sell homes. If mortgage rates come down into the low fives, then maybe some more boomers will sell and bring some more resale inventory onto the market. You still need buyers to come from somewhere though, in order to support future housing prices. Well, some people still don't realize that the largest generation in American history is not baby boomers. It's millennials. Yeah, they became the biggest group more than 5 years ago. In fact, Statista tells us that Gen Z isn't far behind. Look at that, as you can see the population distribution of each group here percentage-wise. Next, I've got a real turning point here in this story today, a pivot point, including some things that you've never seen before. First, go ahead and put a like on the video if you like how I'm breaking it down for you here. You don't have to, though I would really appreciate the like. Here's what the rise of the biggest generation means. Millennials, they're currently aged 29 to 44 now, and not far behind Gen Z at ages 13 to 28. Even if you just completely leave the surge in immigration out of this picture and all the additional housing demand that immigration brings, merely looking at the domestic side alone, there were 4+ million births per year from 1990 to 2010, providing a tailwind for housing demand through 2035 or later. Because see, the average age of a first-time homebuyer is now a record high 38 per the NAR, and the peak birth year for the US was 2007. So if you take the peak of this chart, 2007, add 38 years to it, well, the first-time homebuyer demand is just going to continue to build, and not even reach its peak until 2045. That's where the crush of future demand is coming from. A person born in 2007, on average, they won't buy their first home until well into the 2040s. In fact, the number of Americans turning 35 every single year just keeps increasing, and that number is going to keep rising for another decade or two. 35 is a key age because almost everyone has moved out of their parents' home by that time, and that's the time where people either need to rent or own, pushing up both rents and prices. And that's why this wave of demand and more pent-up demand behind it is just going to keep coming, all presented by John Burns Consulting and sourced from the Census Bureau. And remember, all of this doesn't even include the additional population growth from immigration and how many non-deportees that will add to housing demand on top of this. There is even more future housing demand that's expected to come from the declining number of occupants per household as we look at this and see how it's falling. People have smaller families today, smaller social units. And to give you a simple example, say there's a village of 100 people. Well, with 3 occupants per household, they would need 33 1/3 homes. Over time, when that drops to 2 occupants per household, now that same village needs 50 homes just in order to accommodate the shift in household structure. 50 homes is 50% more than 33. Well, that means 50% more homes are needed, and that's even in a scenario where the population stays the same. Yet it's not staying the same, it is rising. All of this increasing housing demand, it's both already here with more coming, and that's why we see rising prices and why you're going to see even more of it. Yet at the same time, all this is going on, America already has a pretty well publicized overall housing shortage of several million housing units. Construction has picked up a little in places, but not enough to keep up with demand. So perpetually higher housing demand amidst this backdrop of long-term low supply. So suffice to say, when are selling boomers going to crash housing prices? It is not going to happen at all. In fact, you see fewer media stories about this than you used to. More people have come to realize that it's just not happening. And looking at US demographics over the next few cycles, a lot of people will need more homes. Demand will keep exceeding supply, and this is why home prices should just keep rising from here. In fact, I invested in more single-family rental property just this month myself. I'm owning something that people are definitely going to need more of, and they're going to pay more and more for it. When mortgage rates fall, it's just going to bring in even more buyer activity. In fact, between real estate and inflation, you should be able to 10x your wealth over the next 10 years. In fact, come along with me and continue. I describe just how you can do that in a compelling way without taking on inordinate risk in this video right here.